Greetings everyone. Today it's what is today? 18th of February 2017. You become Hauffman, and we are about to start a new series. We're going to try and make an analysis on Theme Hospital. Of course, such a classic game, a really well developed and designed game by Bullfrog Productions around 1997. Actually, I think the precise date is March 17 of 1997, something like that. I think so. Unfortunately, the legendary studios Bullfrog Productions is no more. Yes, however they left for us a handful of awesome games that can be played and are actually still played today. Before I continue, let's change the screen because the recording pauses when changing screens. So, Theme Hospital, a very good example of a managing game, even by today's standards. As we play the game, you see that it's still very enjoyable, and actually being released by the same time as Settlers 2 Gold Edition in 1997. I think we can then make some comparisons between the two, as they have been released in the same era, hence released with use the same hardware, the same technology to be developed, supposedly, of course. Yeah, Theme Hospital is a game where you will be managing a hospital, of course, but it does not take itself very seriously. You'll see a lot of jokes in the game, especially related to the diseases and the staff too. You'll see as we play. I never managed to finish this game. I don't know why, but I suppose here's my chance to do so. I'm having a look at the difficulty here. I think I will go with the Doctor difficulty, the medium one, as considering I have never finished the game, I really don't know that much about the game, which caused me to not be able to fare well on a harder difficulty, I suppose. The game is rather frenetic. Yes, there's a lot of information to handle, a lot of tweaks to be done, but the game happens too fast too, and sometimes you just can't address all of the things it proposes you to address. But we'll give our best. Yes, we'll see how it will go. The game has been re-released actually, I think by 2012 by Good Old Game. So if you fancy the game, if you like what you're seeing, if you feel like playing the game, you can then head to the Good Old Game store to purchase it, to buy it. Yes, I'm pointing out the Good Old Game store as well. It's the one who re-released the game, and that's the one that the only one I know for sure that you will be able to find this game. So enough of talking, let's get to the game. Actually, before we do so, here we are looking at the level screens. So we'll be going through all these levels. Supposedly you should be able to change levels, but I don't know, the mouse pointer does not show up, so I can't really I don't really know how you would be able to change the levels, but supposedly you can. So let's get the game started. So here we have the space where we will be building our hospital. Actually, for now it looks pretty big, even though you see that the rooms take a lot of space too. But later on we won't have as much space to build the things we want, not without buying more terrain. And yes, that will be possible in this screen over here. For now, we can't build more land to build the hospital, but we will be able to do so later on. I will talk about all those other things later on. Let me just check one thing here. The game is actually, it's not really paused, but it hasn't really started, so we are on infinite time for now. About this guy here giving us hints, I won't be able to read what he says. So you can read it if you want. Most of the time we will not pay attention to him, because really the game is so frenetic that I just don't have the time to read what he says, even though he gives away some really useful hints. Yes, so that is that too. I'll start by hiring some doctors. I've already made some tests previously, and I realized that the staff, initial staff you have available is pretty much the same, really. Uh, so I kind of know which doctors and nurses and handymen to go for in the beginning of this level. Let's start then by hiring doctors. Actually, I'm doing that. Doctors and a nurse and a handyman. Which one? This one here and this guy here. I actually start hiring the staff because we will have some hospitals competing with us. That's the case. Let me see here. I can show you that. So we are not the only hospital in the area or in the game's city or area. We will actually be competing with these hospitals over here. They are our opponents, and they will be drawing their staff from the same pool as we will. So what happens is that as the game begins, the doctors that were once there will not be there anymore. So I think it's a wiser idea to get the doctors first before they are gone, and those doctors are the only ones which has some extra specializations. Yes, so that's the reason why I hired the staff first before doing what the game actually asked me to do. Let's have a, since we're in this screen here, let's have a look at it. Yes, so here we have all the competing hospitals. They are not really simulated. They are actually just numbers, as far as I know, or statistic numbers, which will be serve as a base for us to know how well are we doing or not. I don't know how they make the numbers. I think it's probably based on a playthrough from one of the devs. I don't know, I'm just guessing here. But you will see that this hospital will be generating numbers which will try and beat it. It would be ideal to beat those numbers. It's really hard though. Some of them are really crazy. They have some really crazy numbers. We'll see all of that as the game unfolds. What else is worth talking about? Something about the hospitals. Yeah, this hospital, despite they being competitors, they are not. They're not really simulated. You can't visit their hospitals. They are just, like I said, numbers. As something important. Sometimes, like I was saying, sometimes the numbers they generate are not backed by a real playthrough or a real hospital. It's just numbers and statistics. Here we have the win criteria, the criteria we have to meet in order to finish the game or finish this level, by the way. So here you can see that we must have a reputation of at least 300 in order to be successful or to beat the scenario. Currently we have already matched that number. We are at 500. However, as the game unfolds, the reputation will be changing. We must try and not allow it to drop below 300. We need to have at least 1,000 in our bank account. We need to treat 40% of our visitors. What else? We have to cure 10 people, and we must our hospital must be worth at least 55,000. I think it's dollar. 55,000 bucks. Let's go for that. Here we will see later on. It shows the happiness. I think of the patients or the staff. I think it's the patients. The happiness of our patients in the hospital, how thirsty they are, and how cold or warmth it is. Yeah, that's also simulated, and that's just one more thing you have to pay attention to. Reason why the game gets so frenetic, or I consider it very frenetic, very attention intensive. But let's get it started, shall we? Before placing the reception desk, we could actually lay out the whole hospital. I won't do that as I don't see the need for that. But if you're playing the game, you can take as much time to lay down the foundation of the hospital as you wish before really starting the game. So in the first level, have that chance. We won't have the chance though on the later levels. Let's start by building a GP office here. Actually, what I just said about laying the whole hospital foundation can only be done when you don't hire any doctors. Now I just remember that. I think that if I ignore what this doctor is saying for too long, it will just skip to the beginning of the game and screw me or something like that. Let's lay this GP's office here. Yeah, the game, despite not being taking itself seriously, it runs pretty much like I suppose one would expect a hospital to run. So first you have to actually diagnose your it's not placed the right way. I have to place the door over here, so we can place the desk here and the filling cabinet right here. So first you have to diagnose the patient, and actually first you make like a you have to see which way you will be through the GP's office. You have you have to see which way you will be sending your patient through. That is, which diagnosed room will he be going to, and after he has been diagnosed, he will be sent to the clinics where he will be treated. We need some radiators too, as we just saw. We have to pay attention to the heat of the hospital. We cannot allow our patients to be cold or too hot, as they are already very sick. They do not want to feel even worse, or worse than they already are feeling. Let's get this reception desk here so we can get the game started. Let's place it right here and get the receptionist. From my experience, it doesn't have to be an expensive one. Actually, the cheapest one is just fine. So I cannot get my mouse pointer outside of this box here, but you can see that by the left bottom side of your screen the time started running. Even though we can slow the time even further to actually make the clock go slower, but that's not necessary. Let's just actually cannot change the speed of the game right now, it seems. Let's read this. Welcome to your first hospital. Get the place up and running by placing a reception desk. We just did that. Building a GP's office. We have also done that, and we have also hired a receptionist and a doctor. Then wait for some business to come along. It's a yeah, there's the receptionist. It's a little too loud as well, but okay. Then wait for some business to come along. It's a good idea to build a psychiatry adept and hire a doctor with psychiatric qualifications. A pharmacy and nurse are also essential for curing your patients. Watch out for a raw case of bloated head. Yeah, this is one of the diseases they come up with. Very funny one, mind you. But pretty much all of the diseases are jokes, so yeah, you'll see that. An inflation rune will sort those out. Actually, not only the diseases are really weird and funny, as the way how these diseases are cured doesn't make any sense at all as part of all this comedy. You'll be looking to cure 10 people and make sure your reputation doesn't drop below 200. So this is the wait, wasn't it 300? Yeah, this is the winning and losing scenario or criteria for this. Well, I'm quite sure it was 300. Let's have a look at that actually. Yeah, at least 300. Well, anyway, it must be something that I'm not realizing here, and it doesn't really matter. I think we'll do just fine by the first scenario, hopefully so. Well, after the GP's office, let's get some facilities down. Some important ones, by the way. Actually, both of those facilities are very important, but the staff room is definitely the most important one here. Let me think here. I think this base should be okay. You can see that here in the GP's office I placed a lot of items and stuff like that. I don't. Some of those items I suppose are just for the looks, but some of them are actually very useful, and the characters actually interact with them. A very nice, yeah, a very nice touch from the game. One of the very cool touches from the developers and the designers. You'll be seeing that and noticing that as we play the game, if you haven't played the game before, that is. However, like I said, some items seems to be just for the looks, like the TV, for example. I never saw any interactions of the characters with it, and I don't really know if it really makes a difference to place it or not. I suppose it does, otherwise why would it be here? Well, one of the excuses for it to be here is just for the player to feel happy to be able to customize his hospital or something like that, as it's very common nowadays to for people to to have ways to customize whatever the thing they are building or whatever the thing they are playing. There was another important information. What was that? Just escaped my mind. Well, let's keep placing these radiators in this. Ooh, I don't have space to place it over here. Let's place it one over here then, and one over here. I think that should be fine. Hang it there. Okay, and I just remember what I was about to say. It was the fact that this game is not as straight as... Actually, that's one of the first comparisons we can make between Cetrus 2 and Film Hospital. This game is... Okay. This game is not a... I don't consider this game a casual game. It is actually rather complex. A lot of things happen behind the game, behind the curtains, which I don't really actually... It makes the game far more difficult to play, as you don't know what is the cause and the consequence. If you cannot trace the cause and consequence between the things you do, the choices you make. Actually, one of the reasons why the game can be so difficult, for an example, here, this is actually the perfect example. It's very important for you to place a toilet for the patients, as otherwise they will be, well, they won't be happy, I suppose, but they will be also be peeing on the floor at some points, which will be considered litter, will I suppose will cause trouble to the hospital, so you have to have your handyman cleaning up things like that. They will be also puking, so there's well, throwing litter on the floor as well, so the handyman will have to deal with all that. So if you don't have a bathroom, patients peeing on the floor will be just one more thing you will have to deal with. Well, actually I forgot the radiators. So when making your bathroom, you definitely want toilets. However, the sink, I never saw them interacting with the sink, the patients, and I don't know what happens if you don't place a sink. I mean, since so many things happen behind the scenes on the game, I wonder what happens. Does it make any difference to place sinks or not? If it's okay to just place toilets and not place sinks, will it actually make it more easily for diseases to spread along the patients? It's something that will happen, will be introduced later on in the game. So yeah, there comes one of the competing hospitals. Do we have a new doctor? I don't think we do. So yeah, that kind of stuff, that lack of information, makes the game more difficult, but I don't know if it's a fair way to make the game more difficult. I don't know if not providing the player enough information is something good, or if it's something bad to always let the player know about everything about the game. It's something I would have yet to think about. Actually, perhaps you can also have leave your own opinion down in the comments below. Do you think that players should always be aware of how the game runs to be able to fare well on it, or the player has to figure it out on its own, or perhaps he must never know everything about the game, such as does placing sync make any difference or it doesn't. It says some things that this guy give us some hints like extra items in rooms make staff more comfortable, improve the performance. Okay, that's right, but this is not the staff room. This is a place for patients. What difference does it make to actually place syncs or not? I never knew about that. I actually don't know what's the difference between placing sync or not, for an example. So yeah, I'm talking about all that to give you some insight of about how many things happen behind the curtains on this game, or not in front of the player, which are not explained to the player, and that actually impair his ability to fare well in the game if he does not know exactly what is happening, what is the cause and the consequence of his acts, like I said. We could even say that's the first possible criticism about the game, well, negative criticism for this game, which is really a bad thing to do, I suppose, as there's so many things to good things to talk about this game. There's just a little thing that we can stop to think about. I don't even know if my statement is really that correct. Yes, that's why I said I had yet to think about it. Okay, should we start? Well, since we have the time, we already placed the pharmacy. No, what the hell? Sack this member. No. Yeah, there's some problems here when sometimes you click. I think I clicked in the wrong button, but sometimes you click in the correct button, but it actually ends up opening or clicking in the button next to it. I don't know. There's something wrong, perhaps with this newer version of the game. I don't know. Perhaps you'll notice that as I play the game. Other thing that's important, as I made the staff, actually, let me slow down the time again. As I've made the staff room, I don't know if I finished talking about it. I was actually talking about the items, but I did not explain anything about the staff room. So many things are simulated in this game. Reason why it can be considered very difficult, like I said. One of them is that the staff has humor. You have to pay attention to how happy they are, or how not satisfied they are. You have to pay attention to how tired they are as well. So here we have this screen here. Let me just check one thing here. Okay, we have doctor there and a nurse. Right, let's have a look in this room, in this screen over here. So this is the hospital policy. Before I talk about this, I want to talk about the staff. Send staff to rest. Yeah, so they get tired. I like to be very good to my staff. Yes, as I don't know if how much of a difference does it make to let your staff work tired. I know that they don't get very happy, and if they are not happy, they are more likely to ask for a raise and to even ask for some extra money by the end of the month. But I don't know if letting your staff work tired cause them to commit more mistakes, for an example. It's something that the game does not tell you about. So yeah, that's just another thing about this cause and consequence and the things that happen behind the game, which are not really explained to the player. It's sort of up to him to figure it out, if he ever managed to do so. There are some things, like I told you, I have never managed to figure out. So that's why the staff room is so important, because they have to rest. They will actually be resting on the sofas. It's also important for you to have some extra doctors, because as they leave the room where they are working at, you cannot let the population unattended. So as they leave the room, someone will have to take his place. We have one extra doctor here. We will probably be hiring more. As let me check one thing here. It's a rather expensive guy. We will not be hiring him. Is he cheaper than the doctor we currently have. Here, this is the staff tab. How much are they costing? 203 and 124. On that staff over there, you can actually see all I've been speaking about, how happy they are, how tired, their level of skill. This guy's not very skilled, by the way. I don't know what difference does it make actually for them to be skilled or not. The only thing I notice is that they have different walking speeds. You can see that you will see that some of them will be walking very slowly, while others will be really lightning fast. I think that's related to their level of skill. Let's hire some extra handymans. This guy, for an example, and one more. 3 will be good enough, I suppose. That's the beginning of the level. So now we'll be losing and winning money. Let me see here. Yeah, like I said, I still don't know what exactly should I be looking for when hiring a staff. What I usually do is to read their info here, and of course try to look into the staff ability. Most time though, it's kind of obvious that the better the staff is, the more expensive they will be. So hiring an expensive staff member will pretty much be a good deal, unlikely to be a bad choice, I suppose. I don't think anyone else here is worth hiring for now. Handyman, there's dirt for you to clean there. Yeah, the AI is a bit dumb. I will talk about that later on as some other things start happening. Well, not that dumb, of course, but could have been more helpful to you. Let me think here. Yeah, so in this tab here we can actually set up each handyman to our liking. This guy, I want him to just take care of the litter. I think I'll do the same with this guy over here, even though later on we'll have some machinery and we will be needing a handyman to at least one handyman to fix our machines. He's queuing for the GP offices. Patients don't like to stand up, by the way. That's one thing you have. Another thing you have to pay attention to. I'm thinking, let's just make one more facility. Well, at least one more facility here. The general diagnosis. Let me see where am I going to place it. Right here should be good. Yeah, the bigger the I think you have already. This guy must have mentioned. Hang there before I proceed. I have to look into this notice here. Okay, you can read this. It's saying that all diagnosis being exhausted, and no, actually this is different. He's telling me that there's 88% of chance of healing this guy. If what should be done, let's take a chance of possible cure. That's always risky. Yeah, here comes a VIP. So many things happen at once. I cannot talk about all of that. So. Like I was saying, very frenetic game. This one is about diagnosis. Yeah, I left a lot of things behind. Yes, the VIP, the chance at cure. I will be talking about those things later on, as it will be happening all the time. For now, I will be trying to focus on another topic. Here we have then a patient that. Which has exhausted all of our diagnosis machines. They want to know what to do. Actually, I'll get him to wait in on the place, as I will building another diagnose room here. Diagnosis room. It will be a general diagnosis. Let's place it as I was doing before. I was interrupted by a notice like that one down there. I cannot access it while. Damn it. While yeah, it's time based as well, so you have to be quick. And you cannot access it while building things, so yeah, that's another thing that makes the game even more difficult, mind you. Yeah, you can see all the noises, all the weird patients. Yeah, weird patient. There was just an invisible patient there. So yeah, diseases are very funny, and the patients are, and the way how they are treated is also very funny. I won't even comment on that. It's pretty visible. Let's make it in this general diagnosis room here. I think I'll need more doctors too. Let's try and place 4 radiators here, even though they are not just expensive to purchase, as they cost you monthly to keep them running. Let's make more place more benches. As you can see here, he just said something about that. We need to pay attention to that. Here, 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 and here. That should suffice for now. What else can I talk about? The VIP, yes. So from time to time, VIPs will come. They will come up as a notice. You have to be quick enough to not let that notice disappear. Otherwise, they will be coming, like you or not. You can give them excuses for them to not to come, so you can avoid them perhaps judging your hospital poorly. If it's a poor, you know, your hospital is not very good, you can avoid them coming and realizing that by giving them excuse and sending him away. For now though, I think our hospital is being run properly, so we don't have to worry about hits on our reputation. What's this? Yeah, so here are some of the diseases we have at hand. Well, this will be showing from time to time to tell us the disease that has been discovered. This one is the TV personality, the cause daytime television, symptom delusions of being able to present a cookery show. The cure is a trained psychiatrist must convince the patient to sell their TV and buy a radio. Yeah, it's a very funny descriptions and diseases. Okay, it has been found. Okay, here's the result for the VIP. So after visiting your hospital, by the way, as I read this, the game's still running in the back. It's not very good, as things will be happening. I will be missing some opportunities, and problems will be arising as I lose time, waste time here, and I cannot pause the game while on the screen. So let's read this anyway. Telegram. After visiting your hospital, King Bernard of the Netherlands remarked, "Now that's what I call a hospital. You have been awarded a crash grant of 2,000. Your reputation in the community has been boosted." So yeah, having VIP on your hospital in the hospital can be a good thing for a fact, as if they like your hospital, they will be giving you rewards, yes, in cash, which of course will help you getting your which help you get your hospital, keep your hospital running. Man, I'm getting lost with so much information. Let's get some radiators here too, right here. Well, okay. Despite of everything, unfortunately, our time has come to its end. So I'm afraid I will have to stop the video here. But I do invite you to come by the next episode. Oh, some very cheap guys here. Always good to buy doctors that has some specializations, as they will be. Look at the treatment for this guy here. The animations are top notch too, by the way. I think so, at least. What was I talking about? Yeah, it's always good to hire doctors with some specialization, as they will be able to work and what are my doctors? You don't need to be here. Get here. As they will be able to work in almost any room, yes, or more rooms than a normal doctor would. But okay, enough of talking. I really have to go now. We really have to end this scenario here, or this episode here. So I do thank you for your time. Hope you come by the next episode so we can continue playing and learning from this awesome game. So see you by the next episode. Until then.